works of art and fiber and clothing. We appreciate you all joining us today. First, I want to thank the American Kumihimo Society for generously sponsoring this event. We have several models today, and so let's get to it. To start off today, we have Victoria Walker. Victoria Walker shared with some of her friends and challenged each other to spin and knit the very popular night shift shawl by Andrea Maui. By the way, that pattern is on Ravelry if you want to see it. The pattern calls for 6 colors, 150 yards each. She chose 2 frabjous fiber braids in colorways Cathedral Window and Cotton Garden. The third colorway is by Misty Mountain Makers from Tennessee. The pink and gold and green are from Ashland Bay. Now, can you see that sparkle? Victoria carded the solid colors with about 1/2 ounce of Angelina to give this yarn some sparkle. And boy, you can really see it. The yarn was spun and plied on an Ashford E-Spinner 3. It was spun Widdershin, 2-ply, yielding yarn of 11 to 12 wraps per inch. Now, for all of you who don't know what Widdershin is, I didn't either until this, and it means to go counterclockwise. She used the recommended needle size. Her yarn was a finer gauge, giving it a very soft drape. As you can see, she's holding it there. She used the recommended needle size, but her yarn turned out to be a finer gauge, so it's came out a little smaller. Being resourceful as she is, she added 2 sections to the shawl to make it the pattern that she, or the size that she wanted for that pattern. Now turn around to the back again. Look how lovely, especially with that gorgeous background of the woods. Thank you so much, Victoria. Now, I hope you all realize that almost everything we've had this week, and boy, haven't we had a lot, is on Facebook. We've filmed it, we've recorded it, and it'll be on Facebook. So just go to our Facebook account. Now, a lot of people say, well, I'm not on Facebook. You don't have to have a Facebook account to look at Facebook. You just need to put in Hand Weavers Guild of America and go to our account. It's also going to be on YouTube. We're excited about doing this. If we get enough people to watch us on YouTube, then HGA will earn some money back. So go to HGA Weave Spin Dye on YouTube, and if you subscribe, then it will tell you every time we put it up, because it's going to take us a little while to get all this video up on YouTube. Oh, next we have Nancy Rimsha. Nancy participated in the Southeast Weavers and Spinners Guild of Orange County, California, and they did the study group using Dorme Keesby's book, Designing with Blocks. Can you tell? Out of that study group, she designed this beautiful tunic. She also used templates in Rosalie's Nielsen book and design kit, an exaltation of blocks, to make this wonderful design kit. The sewing pattern is from Hand Weavers magazine, May-June 2001, special garment issue. She shortened the pleats. She shortened and pleated the sleeves. Yeah, show that top again. Look how lovely that is. To make the tulip sleeve on her top. Are those not just the best fall colors? Turn around again. We want to see the back again. That was just gorgeous. Thank you so much, Nancy. We appreciate that. Next up is Alec LeClaire. Alec, who lives in Sevier County near the Smoky Mountain National Park, has the lovely view of Mount LeConte. He's modeling his ode to Santa Cruz vest and cap. This project was started as a desire to support the Livestock Conservancy Shave 'em to Save 'em campaign. And hopefully you all saw that earlier in the week, Roy Clemens did this in a thread talk and talked about the Conservancy. Again, go to Facebook, see those ones that are on there. The fiber is from a Santa Cruz breed, which is listed as a critical endangered breed by the Livestock Conservancy. He dyed the fiber using Lancet green and Bordeaux with some yellow orange accents. Yeah, you can see those pop. It was spun into worsted singles and then into a 3-ply. This fiber became accent stripes in the warp. The remaining warp was supplemented with green wool. Now the weft has a story. The weft is a silkwood wool blend. Both came out of the stash 30 years from a closing textile mill in New England. The lining started out as white silk, which he dyed as a shibori, using the same Lancet dye colors of green, Bordeaux, and orange yellow. Alex chose the patterns from the freesewing.org for the base design. He created muslin patterns first. He altered their styles, and then he cut and sewed the finished product. Now this is a Renaissance man in a Renaissance piece. Weaving, spinning, dyeing, he did it all. Thank you, Alex, we appreciate that. Next up is Elaine Isaac. This is the fully reversible blues. This piece began with a hand-dyed length of silk, habote, which is a plain weave silk. Then she gave it a thin layer of merino and silk wool blend bats. The second layer of the fabric was a variety of thrifted scarves and handkerchiefs from family members and local thrift stores in various shades of blue and violet. Elaine cut up all the recycled fabrics into blocks and strips in multiples of 4 inches, and then she laid them out, and then she felted them into the fabric that became this gorgeous jacket. She used lapped seams that makes it fully reversible, even the pockets. Come up closer and let's see those pockets and see the inside. It's just beautiful. Gorgeous. Now, this is up recycling at its finest. What a great idea of using all those scraps and things you're not sure what to do with. You make it into this gorgeous coat. Nice pattern on the back. Thank you, Elaine. Next up is Daryl Lancaster. Now on Thursday, we saw Daryl Lancaster's beautiful studio, and we're seeing it again. But today we see the finished product. This winter floral swing coat is hand woven and hand dyed wool and loop mohair, and it has a wool weft. The structure is a 4-shaft twill variation, loosely based on a draft from Hand Woven magazine. Now we know Daryl has to change it just a bit, tweak it till it's perfect. Warps are hand dyed in small batches in a crock pot with Cushing acid dyes, which is also Daryl's trademark. The coat is fully lined with silk sari. Look at that gorgeous color. The coat's designed as a combination of the 400 swing coat with hood pattern, with variations of the inseam buttonholes variations from the 700 to the 1700 tunic. So she's used 2 different patterns to make this gorgeous coat. And all these patterns, of course, are from the Daryl Lancaster pattern collection. Aren't these the most versatile patterns there? On Daryl's studio tour, she showed other items using this coat and pattern too. And remember, you can go back and see her tour and see more of this. The coat has inseam buttonholes and pockets. And has beautiful bone buttons. Aren't those buttons just the perfect accent for the perfect coat? Thank you, Daryl. Next up is Mary Mandarino. This next work, because Mary has been weaving for over 35 years. Now we've decided she must have been 5 when she started, but she is a member of the South End Woven Collaborative in Boston, Massachusetts. Mary is here from her studio in the Arts Design District of SoWa. Now, for those of you who aren't from Boston, I didn't know this either. SoWa means south of Washington. It's a part of Boston. She is modeling her Mobius poncho woven using the color and weave method. As we zoom in on that, you can see the lovely texture. Look at that pattern. That's beautiful. The bamboo warp was hand painted by Mary using MX dyes. The dye process started using 2 strands of bamboo, and she's got a sample of it here. Now, can we zoom in a little on that and see it in its raw form? 1 black, 1 white, wound together and then hand painted. The final colors of this piece are maroon, chartreuse, and black. It was woven on her trusty Maycomber loom. Once the yardage was woven, the rectangle is twisted and sewn on the bias, creating the poncho point in the back. Oh, look at that pattern. Isn't it just beautiful? Thank you so much, Mary. That's beautiful. Thank you. Next up is Carol James. Now, the body of this COVID sprang shirt was made by Carol as a long piece of flat warp sprang using an uninterrupted interlacing stitch. The stitch was inspired by the pattern in a traditional Ukrainian sash. If you know Carol's work, she knows everything there is to know about spraying. She knows the history, and she can tell you where it came from. Work on the long flat warp began at the hemline. Yep, we can see that. And it proceeded upwards. After the armpit level, she worked a 2-2 interlacing, doubling the threads. Can you lean in a little bit so we can see those threads? There you go. Oh yeah, doubling the threads to slightly gather the width. The change to a 2-2 interlacing stitch resulted into the plaid effect on the yoke of the shirt. The neck hole was cut out after the completion of the back and front panels. The 2 sleeves were created at the same time with shaping at the sleeve cap. The collar is a piece of circular warp sprang that fits the neck hoe exactly, and it's perfect for these COVID times. The material she used was an 8-2 mercerized cotton from Lunatic Fringe. And we saw Lunatic Fringe a couple of times this week. Turn around again, show the back again on the plaid on the yoke. That's just lovely. Thank you so much. That's Carol James. Thank you, Carol. We're having a little technical difficulty here for just a second. Okay, next up, I believe, is Harriet. For those of you who don't know, I'll let you know this. We had storms in Georgia last night. Almost all of us lost electricity. So we've been struggling a little with technology since then. And also don't forget, if you have questions about the works, we are going to take questions at the end. Be sure to mention the piece that you have a question about. Okay, and next up is Harriet. Here's Harriet. Harriet Ringo designed the talent for Matthew, her grandson's bar mitzvah. Harriet, do you hear us? Maybe we should skip Harriet and go on to Stephen. There we go. Hi, Steve. This is Steve Saltzman. After seeing a number of clasp weave wall hangings and random picks of 2 colors, Stephen Saltzman who's a member of the Jockey Hollow Weavers Guild. By the way, Jockey Hollow was very busy this week in Spinning and Weaving Week. We were glad to see them. Who lives in Cranford, New Jersey. He decided he wanted to create a work with a little more structure than most of the wall hangings that he had seen. So he used a 36-inch floor loom, and this is work of 2 woven pieces, worsted weight Peruvian wool. They are 23 by 45 inch, and they are based on a scarf that Stephen was playing around with and experimenting with to get ideas, and that he developed it into these 2 pieces. This is an abstract design with the cool colors on one side and the warm colors on the other. The piece was sized to be sewn together to make a poncho. Just great work of clasp weave. If you're not familiar with clasp weave, I encourage you to look it up. It's a simple weave technique, and it's just gives you incredible results. And again, I remind you, if you have questions, be sure you put them in the chat, or in the question section or the chat section. Next up is Susie Ballinger. Hello, Susie. Susie is our fearless HGA president, if she looks familiar to you. This wild, cheerful 8-2 cotton plain weave towels were woven by Susie and can be proudly worn on any beach in the world. She happens to use it at her South Shore beach in Rhode Island. The towel is generously sized at 34 inches by 62 inches and will fit anybody. But where could I use this beautiful towel, you ask? Why, these towels are appropriate with a bright swimsuit that just went by, or a fish, there's that swimsuit, or fishing waders. Look how well that towel goes with the fishing waders, or even a neoprene wetsuit. The towel that does it all. This towel is perfect for drying off after surfing, swimming, or just lounging on the beach. And you know what? This 2-ply cotton will dry quicker than any fluffy chenille. Totally individual, totally fun, and totally Susie. Next up, we've got Sherry Miller. Now, Sherry is one smart cookie. You know, Webb's used to send out those short lengths of fiber as sample to encourage sales. She's going to show you some of those just now. Yeah, remember getting those? Well, Sherry saved all of those fibers over the years and couldn't bear to throw them out. Now, I'm not saying that she's a little obsessive compulsive, but not only did she save them, she color colorized, gathered them into the right color combinations. She knew eventually that she could find a way to use those colors. And look at this vest. Did she ever? Because they were so short, Sherry used them as decorative striped accents on the hand woven yardage to make a long vest. Oh, look at all that color on the back. And doesn't that black just make it pop? That's a lovely vest. Great recycling too. But she also likes to work with felt. And look at this masterpiece of a fiber sculpture. Adam and Eve are made out of felted cloth. And it's inspired by the classic painting of Adam and Eve that she has turned into a soft sculpture. The trees and the plants were once hand woven towels that she stiffened, and so she could cut them out and then put them on the sculpture. And the flowers are a rose design weave that, again, she stiffened it and added it to make the flower tops. And if you look at Eve, you know how you're always having to do the oh, I'm blanking out. Sorry. The ends, the threads on your, the ends of your yarn. No, that's what she did to make this hair. Isn't it lovely? And then at the top, we've got the serpent, and that is made with kumihimo. What a wonderful fiber sculpture. Thank you so much, Sherry. We appreciate it. Next up, I can't even say it's one person. It's the whole Dietrich family. But who we have on screen is Miranda. And look at that gorgeous weather. They're out in Colorado. We have the Dietrich family, who are the owners of the Phoenix Fiber Mill. You would have seen them earlier this week in the Marketplace Live. Is modeling an alpaca hat, mitten, and shawl. With lovely matching socks. The shawl was woven on a 7-foot triangle loom using the Phoenix Fiber Mill boucle, chenille, and combed alpaca yarns. While the hat and mittens were knitted, all were finished with a cute scalloped crochet edge. The socks are knitted using the same colorway, which is a 228 alpaca yarn. All these items are hand washable. The socks can be washed in a cool setting in a washer and dryer the same way. And boy, don't we love that. All these beautiful pieces were made by members of the Dietrich family, where everyone participates in making products. You may have seen them at the Marketplace Live earlier this week. You'll be able to see their Marketplace Live presentation again, as well as all the other presentations on Facebook. Thank you to Miranda and the whole Dietrich clan for being part of Spinning and Weaving Week this week. Next up, you all may know this face. This is Sally Orgren. Sally is our editor of the magazine Shuttle, Spindle, and Die Pot. Sally is first starting off with these beautiful mittens or slippers. They are hand felted with the design made in the felt. She found the material in a wonderful fiber store in Iowa. She's originally from Iowa. And she at one point used it so that she could have, they were all the same size. And then she added the Velcro so that you could adjust these slippers. And there's the pattern that she used that she found in the store in Iowa. It was called Home Ec. Next, wow, who's this handsome young man? This is Sally's hand-woven and hand-sewn shirt. It's made with tinsel on an 8-shaft twill. She hand-dyed some of the yarns with MX dyes. Now this shirt has a history. This shirt was on the runway at Convergence in Denver in 2004. Anyone who's attended might remember that this buff male model, very similar to the one we have now, came out on the runway, and there was this audible gasp when he appeared, but he did manage to blush when he realized he was in a room full of women. The accompanying shirt also in this fashion show, this was really important to Sally. Also in this fashion show was Flavian Guys, who also won an award. And it was so exciting for Sally because he was her inspiration through his articles and also being on the Convergence runway. So she was so excited that this shirt was sharing the stage with one of her heroes. Thank you so much to both Sally and our lovely buff male model. All right, let's see if we got Harriet back. All right, Harriet designed the talent for Matthew, who's her grandson, for his bar mitzvah, which is which you celebrate at the age of 13. Maddie is colorblind, which means that he sees colors differently than most of us. Harriet had Matthew, who lives in Pennsylvania, go through magazines and find the exact colors that he wanted. And then through the mail and FaceTime, he sent his choices to Harriet, who happens to live in California. Harriet, can you walk a little closer to the camera? We want to see the detail on this. It's beautiful. He's then designed the stripes, including one thread of teal on each side. This band runs the length of the tallis with the stripe color sequence chosen by Maddie. She used sewing thread for embroidering the blessing. She said that the Jagger spun had incredible colors in their 8-2 wool. So she was able to create all these gorgeous stripes. The stripes were using the sequence of color that Matthew had chosen. She found that the twills added movement and interest to the stripes. Once she completed, she worked the design traditional 4 corners. Harriet created those on the computer and then sewn the designs on a Husqvarna Epic embroider sewing machine. The bar mitzvah was held in Israel at Masada. Although she was unable to join him, she did get to see the video and the photographs. What a wonderful piece of artwork, and what a great tradition for your family. Oh, thank you for showing that. That's great. All right, I want to thank all of our models for showing their works today. And again, our biggest thanks is to the American Kumihino Society for sponsoring the fashion show today. And do we have questions for our artist? We did get a shout out for Sherry. She thought that was the best recycling. Way to go, Sherry. Awesome designs. I do want to thank all of our models who walked the runway today.
Yes, I did. Of course, I heard.
I did have a couple of questions I wanted to ask some folks. I'm curious, did most of you use a floor loom, or were they, did you also do, like rigid heddle?
Huh? Daryl used a floor loom.
Kathy, you're muted.
This is Nancy, H-shaft baby wolf.
Yeah, because of how little you use it and a lot of the dyes.
Oh, he did that vest on a rigid handle.
This is Stephen. I used a 4-harness floor loom.
This is Victoria. I'm the only one who managed to not weave but knit.
Well, I felted, so there you go.
There you are.
And we had the spraying work, which is a very different weaving technique.
Yes.
This is Sherry. My vest could be actually done on a rigid heddle. I did do it on my Mighty Wolf. Tabby weave, fitting in all the colored pieces.
This is Trincy. We used a 7-foot floor loom. However, we have made shawls on an antique floor loom before.
Do we still have Sally on?
Yes, you do.
Sally, I owe you an apology. I lost your write-up about your slippers. Would you tell us about your slippers real quick?
Well, I don't know if you're hearing background noise. We have tree guys right behind our house right now. So if it's too bad, let me know. I actually went out and stopped them for 30 minutes and they just started up again. But I can't turn on my video. It says I'm unable to start my video. But the bottom line is it was leftover fabric. And I happened to be at a local yarn store, and let's see if that works. Does that work?
You're there.
I'm there. I happened to be at a local yarn store and saw this wonderful fluffy fabric and couldn't resist it. And then right next to it was that pitter patter patterns. And so an independent pattern, and I thought, well, this is kind of cool. And brought it home, and this was the prototype. So I used seam binding that you get like at Joann's around the edge. This is that special no slide.
No
rubbery,
skid.
There you go, no skid, bumpy stuff. And then the design called for this Velcro so you could change the size. And Whitney has already put in an order, by the way. So once I made the prototype, I ended up refining the pattern, and I used more sturdy materials for the sole inside the shoe. And I am one of Daryl's probably early students in sewing with hand wovens, going back, I don't know, Daryl, 15 years, 20 years. And one of the things that I learned in the class, though, is that you don't necessarily have to have the fanciest sewing machine, but you have to have a sewing machine that can stitch through a lot of layers. And she recommends when you shop for a sewing machine, bring some of your hand wovens and some of your chunkier stuff to test out the machines. And luckily I have a really old machine that doesn't do much, but it stitches through thick stuff. So the trickiest part on stitching would be like right here. But I tell you, these are really fun. I made some additional pairs and they all disappeared. I think I put one in the guild sale and it sold. And I had a friend visiting and she happened to grab another pair before they even made it to the guild sale. So it's really fun, a great way to use up leftover fabric. And this is needle felted, just regular kind of wool that I had bought at some.
Well, I'm sorry I messed up on yours. Those are great slippers. I appreciate it. We do have another question, or something I wanted to say is that now, Alex, yours was rigid heddle, right?
Yes, it was.
Now that was beautifully done. How big of a rigid heddle was it?
22-inch wide, Ashland. Ashford, sorry. Thank you.
Oh, and somebody wants to know, how do you get a hold of the slipper info?
Allie.
Hold on, let's see.
I know you have that book. Is it still available?
I'll put it in the chat. Okay.
Okay, great. And Susie, you have a 44-inch Hammett counter march and that you love this loom. I haven't heard much of a Hammett counter march. Are they still available?
No, it's an older loom. Okay, let me get my video, start my video. Yeah, it's an older loom. It has a really huge shed. There's a long weaving depth to it. It's a workhorse of a loom. The Hammets, I think, were made in the 30s and 40s. They started off being manufactured in Boston, and then they were also manufactured with Reed out of Ohio. And this is an older Hammet. I absolutely love it. It was given to me, and when we got it, we renamed it Watson because it was going to solve all the problems in the studio.
Well, I'm also curious, did the models have fun today? Did you enjoy being on the runway today?
Yes.
Totally fun. Great idea.
Thank you so much for hosting. That was great.
Y'all did so well. You're such pros. I appreciate it.
It was fun.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Well, we had this great announcer, Kathy. I don't know who she is, but you know, HGA should really think about using her more often.
She'll be on Broadway next. Just watch. All right. I do want to thank everybody. This has been fun. We appreciate you showing your work. If nothing else, this week has been inspirational, and I think this is a beautiful way to finish it. Thank you all so much. We have yet more to go. We've got Marketplace Live with Susan Fibers. Right after that, we have the Campbell Folk School. We'll be talking about some of their programs. And then to wrap it up, we have a summary from Elizabeth Williamson. Thank you all so much. This was so much fun. I can't wait to do it again next year. Bye-bye, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.